Namaskar, this is Akhilesh Bhargava. Welcome to Tit-Bits on Business and Finance with me. It was a couple of months ago that an international magazine reported that the total investment of Reliance Industries Limited in its recent project Reliance Jio was to the tune of a huge sum of 2.5 lakh crore rupees. And the report mentioned that Reliance was yet to get any meaningful return on this huge investment. Recent news say that this figure has shot up from 2.5 lakh crores to 3.5 lakh crores, and it is yet to get any kind of a meaningful justified return on such a huge investment. The point is that this report pointed out with concern the increasing debt on the Reliance balance sheet. And after this comes a recent report of Credit Suisse. Credit Suisse mentioned in its report that between 2015 to 2019, the financial liabilities, the borrowings of Reliance, had shot up from $19 billion to $65 billion, which is about 4.5 lakh crore rupees. Of course, most of this went in adding new assets, but the point of concern is that it was not giving an adequate return. Because of this huge increase in liabilities, even the interest burden of Reliance has shot up from $1.2 billion in 2015 to $4 billion in 2019. And it is because of this rising debt levels that Credit Suisse downgraded its outlook on the Reliance stock to underperforming. It expected the stock to underperform only because of the huge rising debt on the balance sheet of Reliance Industries Limited. As if to counter this report, yesterday in the annual general meeting of Reliance Industries Limited, Mr. Mukesh Ambani said that Saudi Aramco has agreed to take a 20% stake in Reliance Industries Limited, paying $15 billion. It thus values the company at $75 billion. That's a huge amount of investment. It amounts to about 1,03,000 crores. And after the recent tie-up and JV with British Petroleum, wherein Reliance is getting 7,000 crores for its oil distribution business, Reliance will now be getting a total sum of 1,10,000 crores, which will of course go to repay its rising debt.
About the biggest foreign investment in the history of Reliance. It is also amongst the largest foreign investments ever in India. Saudi Aramco and Reliance have agreed to form a long-term partnership in our oil to chemicals division. In terms of the understanding between the parties, Saudi Aramco will invest in Reliance for a 20% stake in our oil to chemicals division at an enterprise value of $75 billion. This investment by Saudi Aramco is subject to due diligence, definitive agreements, regulatory and other customary approvals. This partnership will cover all of Reliance's refining and petrochemical assets, including its 51% stake in the petroleum retail JV. Saudi Aramco will also supply 500,000 barrels a day of crude oil on a long-term basis to RIL's Jamnagar refinery. This signifies perfect synergy between the world's largest oil producer and the world's largest integrated refinery and petrochemicals complex.
This investment by Saudi Aramco also comes with a commitment to supply 5 lakh barrels of oil to Reliance Industries Limited per day, which is a guaranteed supply of 25 million barrels of oil to Reliance per year. That is a strategic tie-up. And this strategic tie-up by Saudi Aramco has a lot of political and business connotations. From Saudi Aramco's angle, this investment will also help it in its huge IPO that it has been planning for the past couple of years. From a political perspective, it means an approval by Saudi Arabia of the Modi government and its policies. It also means thumbs up by Saudi Arabia on the recent move of the government to scrap Article 370 and 35A. It means that Saudi Arabia is wanting to engage with India because it sees it as a profit-making territory with a population of 1.3 billion. For Saudi Arabia, India remains a fertile territory, and hence these kind of investment commitments have been coming. You will recall that when the Saudi Prince MBS came to India in February 2019, he had promised $100 billion Saudi investment into India, and perhaps he had this $15 billion investment also in mind. This investment into Reliance Industries Limited is in addition to an investment of $42 billion being made by Aramco along with Abu Dhabi in setting up an oil refinery on the western coast of India. So those are huge investment commitments, and incidentally, this $15 billion investment will be one of the largest foreign direct investments received by India. It sounded as if Reliance Industries was soon going to get a check of $15 billion from Saudi Aramco, but that is not the case. If you actually look at the reality, the investment is more a statement of intent, and that is what was confirmed by Mr. Khalid Al Daga, the Vice President Finance and Strategy of Saudi Aramco. In response to this announcement by Reliance, Mr. Daga said that this $15 billion investment at the moment is a statement of intent. It is yet to get a board approval. It is subject to due diligence. So, it might even be turned down. That's the way we look at it. It is still a statement of intent. It is subject to due diligence. It is subject to regulatory approvals. It is subject to a board approval by Saudi Aramco. And there could be a slip between the cup and the lip. It is an important investment for Reliance Industries for sure. It is also an important investment for Saudi Aramco because it will be a huge boosting factor for its proposed IPO. But it is not yet done and dusted in the manner it was announced by Mukesh Ambani yesterday. Further, it is also pointed out that if the investment gets final approvals after the due diligence, etc., only 50% of the amount is going to be paid by March 2020, and the balance will be paid by Saudi Aramco over a period of 2 years following that. So it's not money in the kitty immediately for Reliance Industries Limited. It is not a finalized deal. It's a statement of intent, and we would be very delighted that the statement of intent finally fructifies after the due diligence, which is yet pending, after the regulatory approvals, which are yet pending. Until that point of time, Reliance needs to ensure that it engages with Aramco good enough that it doesn't walk away from this proposed deal. We think this announcement has been misconstrued by the markets, and today the price of Reliance Industries share shot up by 10%. It is almost being believed that it is a done and dusted deal, but to us, it is not yet so. It will be known only after the final agreement is signed between Reliance Industries Limited and Saudi Aramco, which is still being worked out. This is Akhilesh Bhargava signing off till we meet again. Namaskar.
HW News Network today is a year and a half old. Thanks to your support, thanks to your love, we've grown. We require your support a little more. What we request you to do is to download our free app. Our app is in Hindi, English and Marathi. We promise to update you with the latest news, views, analysis, interview. We also have a live TV going in that. If you download our app, we will get advertisers. And if we get advertisers, we'll get revenue. We get revenue, we can serve you better. So once again, please do support us. Please download our app. Namaskar.
Now be the first to know about the latest updates on our new news app. Go on your Android or iOS, search for HW News Network. Download our app, choose the language you prefer to get updates in, and be up to date with the latest news. Now be the first to know about the latest updates on our new news app. Go on your Android or iOS, search for HW News Network. Download our app, choose the language you prefer to get updates in, and be up to date with the latest news.